Hi, Charlene back with information on the animal, the dragon. So this is my Fun in the Sun series, and because I squint, I'm not going to do that. I want to talk to you today about what the dragon's all about. So the dragon is the one animal that has this whole mythological aspect. It's the only one in all the Chinese animals that's associated with this mythological creature. So with all the TV shows coming out and the movies that we've seen, we're now starting to get this idea that in Asia they're really quite revered and looked up to because they're very ambitious and determined and forward. So that's one thing I will say about the dragons. They have a lot of determination and they get things done. Last year, during the Year of the Tiger, they didn't do too well because tigers and dragons are both very strong, and the tiger had to back down a bit in the year of the dragon had to back down in the Year of the Tiger. So they tend to be very forceful and dominant. They're meant to be leaders, and their ambition matters to them. They're really powerful in terms of the way they get things done. Courageous, they have a lot of tenacity, they have a lot of intelligence. They're also very enthusiastic, and you can pick up on that. They live next to the rabbit in the east, so they have that wood-infused energy, which sometimes cancels out, and I'll talk about that in a minute when I talk about the wood dragon in specific. But they tend to be confident, and they're not, they don't back down from challenges. And because of that, sometimes they take unnecessary risks. But I will say in the Year of the Rabbit this year, not advisable. People can be put off by the dragons because of their dominance, but dragons don't see themselves that way. They see themselves as this kind of fun and feisty and creative animal. But when you're around an angry dragon, like, back up, because overall dragons don't take criticism very well. They don't see themselves as a nasty animal. They're a lot more in tune. They align with the Aries in terms of like the Western sign, and it doesn't matter how you feel about them. They're a great ally. They're environmental leaders. They're innovative in their thinking, and they tend to think out of the box. And they have a really good way of envisioning things that most people don't understand or get. So that's the beauty of the dragon itself. Now I'm going to go through each and every one of the specific dragons, and that's all the elementals. So first I'll start with wood dragons, and I find this kind of surprising because wood dragons, you think being very innovative. The ones that are born in 1964 and 2024 next year, they tend to be a little more introverted and less enthusiastic. They can have issues with relationships. Now that could be because their energy is very forward moving, that they tend to get shy, which is, I find, very odd for a wood dragon. We move on to the fire dragon. They're born in 1976. They are fiery, smart, they're easygoing, but they can be a little unreliable because of the fire energy. When you feed fire with wood, if you stop feeding the fire, it drops. So that's the unpredictability of the fire dragon. The earth dragon, born in 1988, is ambitious and hardworking. That's the earth energy of that element that makes it tenacious in its own way. The metal dragon, born in 2000, excuse me, they're smart, they're straightforward, they can be unpredictable, and they're very emotional, but they're also really good at helping you out. The water dragon, which will be coming up next, or no, it'll be the wood dragon next year. The water dragon's born in 2012. They're really vigorous. They're mystical. They're the more mystical dragons. They have that energy of like going deep, and they're very good at, they're very intuitive in their own right. So that kind of gives you an idea. Now dragons, they hook up with the rats and the monkeys very well. They make great companions, great colleagues. So if you're lucky enough to either have one as a mate, a partner, a colleague, it's great. So the rats and the monkeys and dragons, they really work together. So that's my little talk about dragon energy.